the little girl comes home from school and she's crying, and she goes, "What's wrong, little girl?" And she goes,
"Well, there's a boy at school, he keeps bullying me."
and I say, "Well, you know what that means?
"No, what?"
That means he likes you." And then all of a sudden we're now, implanting into that little girl that if someone likes you, they have to treat you bad. How do you see in your environment a lot of people bond? How do you see in your environment a lot of people connect? Who sees in their environment, whether it be a direct environment or an observed environment, that you've observed that people tend to, especially in our country, they tend to connect a lot and talk about their problems a lot? Who's observed this, right? Okay, and so when we understand what that is, we can start to unravel it, because when most of us look at people talking about their problems, we call that in most cases a social setting or socialization or having a vent. But what we don't realize are the biological consequences of the way that we vent and the way that we connect, create an addiction, literally an addiction, a biological compulsion for certain emotions to be felt. Now, what do you think is your number one driving feeling? And when it comes to feeling, what do you think is your number one driver? Who here loves to feel good? Okay, who here loves to feel bad? Okay, so no one's put their hand up, which is why they say, real change, happens at the border of your comfort zone and your discomfort zone. Okay, so our goal is to become uncomfortable if we want to change. But the moment we feel any form of discomfort, in most cases, what's our first response? To step back. And see, for some of us right now, we look at certain bonding strategies and we relate to them. And the reason we relate to them is because that's how we were brought up. And so negative bonding strategies, in most cases, are what I'd refer to at a high level, which is trauma bonding. Now, what's trauma bonding? Trauma bonding is where people bond over their traumas, their childhood traumas, their marriage traumas, their work traumas, relationship traumas, their health traumas. Now, people love, in many respects, to connect over their problems, their wounds, sickness, social issues, stereotypes, okay? But also another form of trauma bonding, which we see play out in most cases with kids, is mocking, teasing, sarcasm. Who here knows people that use those strategies as a way to connect and create intimacy? In some cases, social intimacy or even personal intimacy. Okay, how often are we, when the little girl comes home from school and she's crying, and she goes, "What's wrong, little girl?" And she goes, "Well, there's a boy at school, he keeps bullying me." And I say, "Well, you know what that means?" "No, what?" "That means he likes you." And then all of a sudden we're now, implanting into that little girl that if someone likes you, they have to treat you bad. Okay, and that means that they like you. They have to mock you, tease you, use sarcasm. Who knows what I'm talking about here, right? And this is a strategy, by the way, that a lot of households depend upon. Okay, we even call it banter. Okay, and I love the banter, but what I've started to realize was there were certain people in my life that where I was using banter as a primary form of attachment. Okay, and when we start looking at everything, everything above here, okay, on the spectrum of emotion, because this is high negative connection, emotional attachment, okay, spectrum, this is high positive. So low negative, high positive. And what we do is we'll typically move towards the bonding strategies that make us feel good. And the bonding strategies that make us feel good are the ones that we were brought up with. Okay, so if you were brought up with a parent, okay, or an environment where they mocked you, teased you, okay, gave you a hard time, that stuff after a while feels certain, it feels safe, and that creates what you would refer to up here as an insecure attachment. You're now attached, but you have an insecure attachment. On some level, you've convinced yourself that it makes you feel safe, but the only reason it makes you feel safe isn't based on the psychology, it's based on the biochemical response because it's familiar. And those familiar patterns produce a familiar biological response that makes you go, "Oh, this feels like home. I love hanging out with you. We can just give shit to each other all day long." Now, if you give shit to each other all day long, you do that for 3 years, what have you got? You've got 3 years of negative programming. Okay, you've got 3 years of abusive, okay, socially acceptable programming. In some cases, it might have even been fun or even hilarious to take the piss out of the other person. But when we understand the dynamics of not just the quality of the relationship, but the words and how those words transcend into a psychology that produce not just feelings, but also behaviors, you start to go, maybe my bonding strategies aren't at the level that they need to be if I want to start having healthy relationships.
Hey YouTube, thank you so much for watching this piece of content. Do me a favor, give me the thumbs up, leave a comment below, let me know what you liked, and also what would you like to see more of. Super appreciate what you're doing, super appreciate your attention and your eyeballs. Share this with a friend, share this with a family member, someone who it might support, and I'll see you on the next video.